Earlier tonight, I created this character of the curious girl, and now I'm going to create an animatic about how she got her magnifying glass. It's her birthday. She blows out the candles. She gets her present. She's thrilled that it's a magnifying glass. She goes out into the garden, and here you see her looking up close at a bug. So we're going to hop on over to Photoshop, and I'm going to show you what the finished file looks like. We've got the background that's white. We've got the character sheet, which is, it says the best birthday. Then we've got her coming in the room with the birthday cake in layer 1. Layer 2, she's looking at the birthday cake. Layer 3, she's blowing out the candles. Layer 4, she's wondering what's inside the present. Layer 5, she's thrilled and happy. Layer 6, she goes out into the garden. And layer 7, she's looking at the bug. So the way that this animation was created was I started at the bottom up, and every time I added another part to the story, I added another layer and hid the layer beneath it. I kept the character sheet available to use as a reference, and I didn't put in the lettering till later, but I always had this girl in the corner so I could look at what she looked like. So once you've created the file and you paste your character in from when we developed our characters, you can start adding layers and start adding to the story. I found that it was easier to change the opacity of the layer underneath it, but still leave it visible so I could see what came before. The other thing is you're going to basically be drawing the beginning, middle, and end of the story, and then you're going to, you see how I changed the opacity, but I kept it slightly visible so I could see what happened right before and make sure the sizes were consistent. And you can see I have my character sheet in the corner, so I remember what the girl's supposed to look like. Also, remember I kept the character very, very, very simple so that it would be easy to draw her over and over again. But what I did was I did the beginning, middle, and end, and then I added additional frames in between so that the story made sense. When I was done drawing all the frames, I renumbered them. And you always start the story from the bottom, and it ends at the top. So you're going to basically number them. The white at the bottom would be background, and that will be just locked, and there'd be only white there. The next one would be your character sheet, and then it would go layers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many layers you need. I highly suggest that you keep it simple and do beginning, middle, and end, and then add in details as you find them necessary. A key is to make sure that you can understand the story without words, that it tells a visual story, that it makes sense, without you having to stand there and explain what's going on. So that's really the test of whether or not you're successful in this. But once you're done adding the layers, you go back in, you renumber them, and then you're going to render the video, create the animation, and I'll show you how to do that. So make sure the layers are in the correct order, bottom to top, that they tell the story in sequence. If you have any layers that are like a color layer underneath or things that should be combined, make sure that everything you need to draw is in the correct layer and in the correct frame. Don't accidentally have two different parts of the story in different layers. If you want to add color, that's fine, but remember that you have to merge the color layer and the line layer together when you're done so that each layer is a frame in the story, an illustration in the story. So when you're done, you can add a little color if you want to. And then once you've reordered the numbers, you're going to go to the very top and you're going to click a window, and then there'll be a big drop down menu, and you're going to click on timeline. So window, timeline, create frame animation, make frames from layers. I'll show you this part where you render the video in a little more detail right now. So now that I have all these layers and I have the story from beginning to middle and end, I'm going to, I've got the timeline here. I just do window, timeline, and I check that off. And then I create a frame animation. And then I make frames from layers. Okay, and then I'm going to actually change the timing on the animation to 2 seconds per frame so I can see each frame. The first frame actually should have the layer 1 in it. The second frame should have, the second frame should have layer 1 plus the background. Actually, all of them should have the background in them. So I'm going to just go like that and then make sure that they all have the background in them. So I just clicked on it and now they all have the background in them. Anyway, so this is the first frame. This is the second frame in the animation. So this shouldn't be visible. So I'll hide that. This shouldn't be visible here. I'll hide that. See, I'm curating each frame in the animation to make sure that it doesn't have extra things showing. And there we go. All right, so this is the first frame. This is the second frame. Looks like there's a duplicate of the second frame, so I will throw that one in the garbage. Yes, okay, so now, first frame, second frame, third frame, fourth frame, fifth frame, sixth frame, seventh frame, and last frame, eighth frame. Okay, so what I did was I made sure that the white background is visible in each frame, because otherwise it wouldn't look right. Anyway, so I'm gonna, each frame is 2 seconds except for the first one, which is 3 seconds. And I'm gonna just hit play to make sure that I have a pleasing storyline. And it's very, very understandable. It makes sense. It's easy to see what's going on without any explanation. So I'm now going to do file. So I'm going to name the document. First of all, make sure the document's the right size. Image size. And I want to make sure that it is a height of 9 inches and a width of 16 inches. And 300 pixels per square inch. Okay, now it's awfully big. Let me just zoom out a little. Okay, now file, save as, and I'm gonna save it on my computer, and I'm going to call it Curious Girl Birthday Surprise. Okay, and it's a Photoshop file. It's got all the layers. I hit save, and then I hit OK. And now I'm going to do File, Export, Render Video. But just, let's see. I'm going to custom frame rate, 1 frame per second. Okay, and I'm going to select folder, and it's going to go into my downloads, render. Okay, and let's see if that worked. And yes, it works very well, and I can understand what's going on. I don't need an explanation. How you create a simple animatic using Photoshop.